Hello, I'm Morten, a senior support consultant here at the ClickLearn customer experience team. Welcome to the ClickLearn release notes for Attain version 12.1.65.0. In this video, I'll walk you through the latest updates, improvements, and fixes that are coming your way with this release. Let's dive in. For recordings, first let's have a look at the recordings and replay improvements. If you try to share or copy published content and not a user already starting doing so, you will now see a message with their name, making it clear who's working on the content to help avoid confusion. So basically, if you know the feature where you right-click on a recording or on a section in the structure or whatever, and you try to say share, just to produce that part, like for someone to verify it, or just to quick share it, or just to check out a template change or whatever. Someone else could also be doing the same thing with that same piece of content, and now you're being told who's doing that, so you can get the content link from them afterwards, right? It's just, one file cannot be opened by multiple people, so it basically provides a problem in the producer on the back end unless this was implemented. So then we fixed an issue where it would say replay successful, even though the replay wasn't complete. So now the replay status will actually match what happened. So that can be pretty frustrating if you're working on a replay where you're having severe issues making it complete because of data or steps or whatever reason, and it would keep saying it's successful when it's not. So that's been fixed now. Then we had a very odd case here. If you're having a replay and on the very last step it fails, then when you want to add some additional steps, then you add a few steps and you try replaying again. So basically what happens was that after you added your extra steps and then clicked on retry, it would say replay completed successfully. It would skip the last two steps, and then all the screens in the entire recording would be failed. So a very niche scenario. You'd have to do it on the last step, but it's fixed now, so you don't need to worry about it. But I mean, it is crazy when stuff like that happens, and that's why we have these updates, right? Going over to the recording editor, we've made editing your content more consistent and reliable. When maximizing the instruction image in the preview, you will no longer get a gray area below it. The images, it scales and displays properly now. And that can be a little bit frustrating. I don't know if you remember, but there would be like a gray area below a zoom image. I'll just pop into ClickLearn quickly and show you. So opening a random recording here. When I zoom in on an image, I would sometimes have a gray box down here. It's now been fixed, so it properly scales and crops the image as it should be, right? When you edit text and tags, it now says reliable in all cases. We had an issue where if you were using multiple tags in your instruction overrides, then it would sometimes not save correctly. And that could be like, click on the button %1 to select %v, like the value or whatever data is derived from the system, right? So when you were using multi-tags, it would sometimes not save, not all the time, but sometimes. That's been fixed. It will now save all the time. When you select our new video skin and you edit a step in the video editor, the video will no longer start from the beginning. It will now start from the right place. So yeah, we had a problem where when you have the new skin and you go down the video editor and you select a random step you want to see, then the video jumps to the beginning. So that's been fixed. It's pretty annoying if you want to preview a specific part in the video. Editing a keyboard step no longer displays a confusing %1 in the instructions. So yeah, basically keyboard steps, you can also override what you want to write in there. And that had an issue with the values, so it's been fixed now. Setting a step on a row and on IFS dropdown now correctly selects only the proper dropdown options, not anything beyond. So you know how you can select any row, any cell, this kind of selection when you work with tables or drop-down lists with multi-item selections. There was a specific place in IFS where it would select beyond the list that was being displayed. So It's fixed now. For Teams, when you are inviting new users, the system previously validated the email domain even if you hadn't set that configuration. That's fixed now. So this might sound a bit confusing, but on our backend, we can set up whether or not the email domain is going to be validated when you invite a user, right? It's something we can set on a license level. And it didn't do it. So you could just invite anyone. And that's luckily been fixed. They wouldn't get access to the project because their email domain was not part of your license, but yeah, it's a little bit misleading. So now at least we'll tell you that you can't do that, which is good, because then you can contact us and then we can add a domain for you if your license is eligible. For structure, if you added or changed metadata on a different modules, sometimes your changes will not be saved and you use them. So this is now fixed and your metadata changes are now saved as expected. And this is when you are, you're changing the metadata directly on the structure itself. Like when you click on a recording, you can change the metadata on the right hand side, right? Sometimes it wouldn't save. For settings, when multiple people try to edit the language template at the same time, sometimes the changes were lost. So now only one user can edit at a time. Another will see a lock. That will just help to prevent accidental overrides. And we've had a bit of a nightmare case, honestly, with users trying to access and edit the template, the language template at the same time. So when it did that, it would do like a conflicting configuration, which would result in them seeing completely different things in the language template editor. So the recordings will look different even though they will use the same templates. It's absolutely crazy. Luckily, that's been fixed now, so it will work the same way as when you use the structure. Like, so when you edit the structure and then someone else try to open it, will say the structure is locked for editing by, and then we'll say the username, right? It does that with the UXP as well, and now we'll do it with the language template editor too. Publishing, the approved avatar button now appears correctly when you switch between publishers and reproduce the content. So basically, if you switch between our currently supported providers, which are Colossian and Synthesia, if you switch between them and you reproduce the content, it didn't display the option to approve the new avatars. So it's been fixed now, which is nice if you're switching between the both providers. So if producing failed, we had an issue where it displayed an error status, and it would say no errors found in the status message for the errors, but there would be production errors, right? So now it will accurately display what you're supposed to see. So if there is an error, you'll see what it is. If there are no errors, it will not say that there is one. It's going to be a bit more accurate, their production report. Luckily, not something that's happened a lot, but I've seen it at least once or twice. So. For published content, if your recording name is in Greek, you'll no longer see a content not found error. So Greek names are now fully supported, which is wonderful for our Greek users. In Word, we had an issue where, a note you can say, or a text block, sorry, you can say you want to keep it, you can keep it before, or you can keep it below a step. So it either comes before the specific steps, or it's like on the tail of it. That didn't carry over to Word, and that's been fixed. So now it appears as it should. So it's just making the navigation more intuitive, and it reflects what you have configured in the HTML of ClickLearn, right? For the dashboard, we've improved some transparency in data and tracking. So OData now display a new field called section path. This shows the full path of recording within the structure for easy navigation and reporting. Now we have a new action, all right? It's called test done. And OData will now display the detailed information similar to video complete, but it's just so you can track tests more easily, right? Test done, that action is only for the test me. It's not for the try me or anything else. And it will also carry the calculation from the JSON. So like, how many steps, how many were complete, how many were correct, how many were false. And then, you can do the math from there, right? So it's easier to find the tests. So a great improvement to OData for sure. In the portal, we're configuring multi-business systems in the asset. Those systems are now configured correctly under the permission definitions in the UXP whitelist. And basically that means that you don't need to both configure it in the UXP allowed origin and the assist config and the permissions. If you just set it in the assist config, it will automatically update the rest. When you check out a file now, it's gonna be faster. And we've done some optimization to the code so that you don't get save file failed, for example, and these kind of issues. So it works a little bit more smooth and a little bit better. And then the edit user dialog is specifically expanded, so no more annoying scrolling. And that's just if you're an admin of ClickLearn and you go into your portal and you click on edit for a user, before you have to scroll down to send a license or reset the password and add the phone number and stuff like that. So it's just kind of on all one page now, which is very helpful when you work with multiple users at once. For the UXP, in some IFS environments, the videos didn't display an avatar animation. That's been fixed. And creating a default config now actually creates the config instead of just loading the page. We had an issue where if you didn't have English as your default project language and you tried to create a UXP project and a UXP configuration for, like, let's say French or German or whatever, it would just spin forever. And in reality, it just didn't create the config file, that is what it's supposed to do. So yeah, they kind of messed it up, but that's been fixed now. When configuring steps for any row in the assist, the UXP assist will now correctly highlight the column, making it clear what steps are affected. So we had an issue where in UXP you couldn't use any row, any cell functionality for the assist. This makes it a lot easier for the authors to configure the assist and make it more smooth for the end user to use the assist, because it will be much more flexible in which data they are supposed to select when they try to follow the work instruction. For connectors, we have big improvements for connector reliability. The connector extension now supports WebSocket for recording instead of relying on native messaging hosts. Some of you, I know, are using the ClickLearn authoring tools extensions with WebSocket. That's basically what this is. But this means that the regular ClickLearn connector extension will also be able to use WebSocket if native messaging host is not installed. This only works for brand new machines that hasn't had ClickLearn before. If you wish to switch, you will need to clear out ClickLearn completely from app data, from program data, everything. Or you can follow the WebSocket instructions on our knowledge portal on how you can install it manually, right? Or you, of course, welcome to reach out to us in support, and we can help you switch over if you want to use WebSocket instead. WebSocket is required to record Teams at the moment, and it's also required to record some other platforms that disallow scripting on their page. So it would block the script that we use for native messaging host. And also it's a little bit faster. For some people, they experience the WebSocket being faster at, like, when you hover over a step, it'd be faster for the green rectangles to appear. So it's a pretty cool thing. I would definitely recommend you check it out. The connector can now better identify dropdowns during the assist mode, so you can capture more accurate steps. Then in Oracle, icons recorded for different roles will now show the correct text. We've had an issue where Oracle had named icons differently depending on the roles. So we've tried to kind of fix that from ClickLearn's end, so it's not so inconsistent. And we now support Salesforce 65. So if you're on Salesforce, the newest version, you can rejoice. And UXP is compatible with the IFS 25.2e.0. So you just need to make sure to reproduce in order to be able to support the latest version. And that's it for ClickLearn Attain version 12.1.65.0. This update brings more accurate recording, better performance, a smoother editing, and publishing experience, along with support for more business systems. Remember to update to the latest versions to take full advantage of these improvements. If you have any questions or feedback, our team is always here to help. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.